MaestroDMX users! We are excited to announce the release of software version 1.5. 1.5 introduces ArtNet. ArtNet allows you to send DMX data over a network, and we'll get into how all that works. We're super excited to have this feature for you guys. In addition, we did some major restructuring and redesign of the underlying engine of Maestro, improving stability and fixing a bunch of bugs. We also made some tweaks to the UI. Should we get into it?
So first of all, we're going to talk about the feature that you've all been patiently waiting for. That is ArtNet. So yes, now MaestroDMX allows you to send out one universe of ArtNet out of the Ethernet port on the Maestro unit. So for those of you who don't know what ArtNet is, this is a way of sending DMX lighting data over a network. So as well as sending DMX out of the hardwired port at the front, the 3-pin port at the front, you can now also send an entire second universe out of the Ethernet port. So I'm going to touch on ArtNet briefly in this video. However, there is a deeper dive ArtNet video that is linked in the notes to this video. So to begin, you're going to go to your stage page and you're going to notice that there's a drop down here. This is new as of 1.5. So this drop down shows you all of the frame drivers or output ports that are available. Currently, the internal DMX is there. That is the port that you've been using so far to send lighting data. And we have something called unpatched. Unpatched is where fixtures go when they are not assigned to one of the output ports. So to create an ArtNet output, you simply click on the 3-dot menu over here, add an output, and you're presented with a dialog. Again, I won't go into detail about how to do this, but let's talk about it quickly. So there's two modes, there's manual and discover. In manual, you enter your IP address here for your ArtNet node. You can name your node, select the universe it's going to be sent on. You can also add a second node at a different IP address that will have to be on the same universe as the first node. You also have the ability to discover nodes. So as long as the nodes are within the subnet of your Maestro, defined by the subnet mask, you can hit start here and you'll be able to discover any nodes on your network and assign those to an output. You can also enable the output here and offset universes for those lighting manufacturers that make the first universe 0 or 1. So we're just going to go ahead and create a manual output node. Assign it to 10.0.0.60. Currently my Maestro is at 10.0.0.200 with a subnet mask that allows the last 2 bytes of the IP address to be the wildcard. So 10.0.0 anything other than 200 will show up on the network. I'll just call it node 1, assign it to universe 1, and I can hit save here in the dialog. Oops, I just have to delete this extra node I made. I'll save it again. And now we have a universe 1 showing up here in the patcher. And now I'm able to add fixtures to that universe. So that's it for ArtNet for now. Please see the deeper dive ArtNet video linked in the notes below. And moving on, we now have the ability to show all of the DMX channel data in a grid view under channels. So if you are on the stage page, you go to patcher, click on channels, you're going to see a grid of 512 boxes. Each box represents a channel in the DMX universe. And now I'm able to patch fixtures onto this grid. As well as in the fixture view here, I can now also patch them in this channel view. So I'm going to go ahead and click a plus here on the first channel, load up a fixture, and now you can see all the different pixels, the RGB pixels in that fixture. This fixture has 12 RGB pixels, so it takes up a channel space of 36 channels. I'm also able to add another fixture. So if I go ahead and click here on 37 channel, which is empty, I will add a mover. And now you can see that any pan and tilt values will show up and you'll be able to see them in real time in these boxes. This is really helpful for debugging if you're not sure if DMX data is being sent to the correct channels or if the channels have the correct attributes or if your fixture profile is correct. What you can do is patch your fixture have a look at the channel view here and just make sure that the right data is going to the right fixture channels. You can also click on a fixture name and it will take you over to the control page with that fixture. So if I click here on this Intimidator beam, I'm now taken to the control page with that fixture loaded, and I'm able to change any of the channels in the control page or create snapshots as before. And now moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about show and patterns and some of the changes that have happened there. So first of all, we have now changed the transitions in the cues. So if I go and edit a cue over here by clicking the three-dot menu, and you scroll to the bottom, you'll see that there is now an in duration and an out duration for the transition. In the past, there was only one transition duration, and that defined the in and the out. Now you can separately specify the in duration and the out duration. So the in duration is how long it fades in from playing the previous cue, and the out duration is how long it takes for the current playing cue to fade out. Furthermore, we have now added a play pause control via MIDI or OSC. So if I'm playing my show and I hit the play pause message, then it will toggle play and pause of your show. Keep in mind, this only works for show and does not work in live mode. This is really handy if you have, say, a foot controller with very limited buttons. You can now have the same button do playing and pausing on your show. Moving on, we also made a very slight tweak to the Twinkle pattern. So if I load up Twinkle here and if I'm running it, we have now made it so that the speed at the lower end slows the Twinkle pattern down much more than it was doing before. We found that at the slowest speeds in the past, Twinkle was still moving quite quickly. That's now fixed so that at very slow speeds, the twinkles are also popping very slowly. Now moving over to our control page, you'll also see that there is some data being displayed at the top of each of the channels. So if I jump over to my color band fixture, first let me go back and play a cue here. Play Techno Glimmer, jump over to the control page. You'll see that these colored lines represent the live DMX data going out on that channel. So that's just another way to debug if your data is being sent correctly and if it's being sent to the correct channels. You will also notice that there is a new icon in the banner. This is a snapshot preview icon. So if I create a new snapshot by clicking here, add snapshot, and I hit the snapshot preview button, that snapshot preview will stay active across all instances of the app, just to remind you that a snapshot is currently being previewed. That's really handy if you have multiple versions of the app running. If I create another tab, you'll see I'm running on the show page and the snapshot preview is enabled. So you can go back here and turn it off. And finally, we made some modifications to the way some of the tables work in MaestroDMX, as you probably saw on the show page. So now you are able to perform bulk actions by multi-selecting rows of a table. So if you look at the show here, I can actually select all the cues. I can then duplicate them, or I can delete them. I can also pick different cues, bulk select them, duplicate them, and delete them. That makes editing your show a lot quicker. The same is true on the stage. If I go to fixtures in the patcher, I'm now presented with the ability to multi-select fixtures. The same is also true in fixture profiles, where I can bulk select all the channels of a fixture and duplicate or delete them. This is also very useful, say if you want to create your own fixture with a whole bunch of RGB pixels, you can create the RGB pixels, multi-select them, and duplicate them over and over again. And finally, we squashed a whole bunch of bugs and actually spent a decent amount of time re-engineering and re-architecting the underlying system of Maestro to make it a whole lot more stable. We're super excited for this release, and we look forward to your feedback.